Hi, this is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, coming out here from my beautiful backyard garden here with all my amazing leafy greens behind me. We got basically water spinach, like a whole wall, and we got a bunch of Malabar spinach. And it's a very important thing I'm talking about today is greens. I know some of you guys may not eat a lot of greens, but I want to encourage you guys to eat more greens because there is a new vitamin that was discovered recently. I think 2018 is when they first learned about it, but now 2023, it is on its way to becoming an essential nutrient and should be, in my opinion, listed on every nutrition facts label. And you guys are hearing it about it here first, you know. So yeah, because I look up the published studies on a regular basis and stay informed, and I'm here to share with you guys all my hard work so that you don't have to look up all the published studies like I do. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into this newly discovered vitamin known as vitamin A5. All right, guys, so you guys can see here's a study. It came out in the journal Nutrients, and it says vitamin A5, evidence, definitions, gaps, and future directions. And let's see, the date on this is, it was just published literally July 14th, 2025. You guys are seeing it here first. You know, literally I keep up to date with the studies. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into this. We'll read parts of the abstract and parts of the study. Once again, links down below to the two studies I'll be referencing. This is one of them, if you guys want to read them for yourself, but I'm going to summarize it here for you guys to save you guys lots of time. So it says, vitamin A5 was discovered 80 years after the last vitamin was identified. It serves as an umbrella term for the dietary precursors of 9-cis beta-carotene and 9-cis-13,14 dihydroretinol for the endogenous activator of the nuclear hormone receptor RXR 9-cis-13,14 dihydronic retinoic acid. Well, I'm not a scientist, so I can't pronounce all these things. And then it says that this review summarizes key findings and provides comprehensive assessment of the current understanding, concluding that vitamin A5 is a newly identified micronutrient that plays an important role in the prevention of diet-related disease, and vitamin A5 is an important micronutrient that provides a plausible mechanistic explanation for why a Western lifestyle diet low in vegetables and especially leafy vegetables can lead to a high prevalence of Western lifestyle diseases, particularly neurological diseases and poor mental health. So, you know, my comments on this is that, you know, they haven't discovered brand new vitamins in many years. You know, they talked about 80 years since the last vitamin was discovered or identified, you know, because like, oh, we think we know it all. No, there's so many new things to learn. There's so many different compounds in the amazing plants that I love to grow in my garden behind me that are important. And I mean, if you guys want to stop watching this episode now, that's fine. What I will tell you guys to summarize this episode is eat a diversity of fruits and vegetables and other healthy plant foods that are whole, right? Minimally processed, for the maximum nutrition that we would get from nature if we were eating nature's foods. Unfortunately, most people are eating highly processed foods, you know, and in this study, it proves that 66% of Europeans, not just Americans, but Europeans are deficient in vitamin A5. And me personally, as an American, I generally like to think that Europeans eat healthier than Americans because they have more, you know, food tradition that they've eaten and, you know, eaten for thousands of years. And whereas American, we just eat all processed junk food. So in my opinion, Americans even more deficient in vitamin A5 due to our diet over here in the Western world. All right, let's get into the study. So the first part of the study, they spend a good portion of it is describing like what is a vitamin and how to establish what a vitamin is. We're going to skip over most of this, but I do want to share this point, which is section number 2. What is it a vitamin defined by WHO and EFSA? The WHO is a World Health Organization, and the definition of vitamin is the following definition relates to the micronutrient intake from food and water required to promote optimal health, that is, prevent vitamin and mineral deficiency and avoid the consequences of excess. So according to the WHO and EFSA's definition of vitamin, the vitamin A5 does meet this criteria, and they go into it a lot more. And you know, this is A5, guys. This is not just the same thing as vitamin A or provitamin A. This is totally a new, different nutrient that is required for human health. So let's go down further. And they talk about the mechanisms and how it works, and that gets super complicated. So we're just going to go down here and make it a lot easier for you guys. All right, so jumping down to section 13, we'll talk more about what is A5 and how it works in the body, because we jumped over that big, large section that gets a lot of technical jargon and stuff. We're going to keep this easy for you guys to understand. And it says, what is a potential vitamin A5 deficiency? Is vitamin A5 essential? And it says, vitamin A5 deficiency is part of general vitamin A deficiency with congruence to vitamin A1 deficiency based on reduced prevented RAR/RXR mediated signaling. It should be noted that RXR functions as the master switch to allow multiple signaling events with other nuclear hormone receptors, NHR, such as vitamin D receptor, VDR, the lipid-mediated receptor, peroxisome proliferator activated receptor, PPAR, the cholesterol derivative receptor like liver X receptor, LXR, the thyroid hormone receptor, TR, the retinoic acid receptor, RAR, and NR4A2. All these processes are therefore dependent on the endogenous RXR ligand and therefore on vitamin A5, which must be obtained from the diet, okay? So anyways, to make it simple and complete, basically, we need this master switch. It's like, you know, on your house, you have a circuit breaker, right? If you don't have the vitamin A5, like you don't pay your, bill, they cut off your power at the master switch and you don't have power in your whole house. Your house does not work. And that's how the vitamin A5 works in our body. It's like the master switch that helps vitamin D work, that helps cholesterol work and thyroid work and all these other things work. All right, so let's find out how important vitamin A5 is in our body. So now we're jumping down to figure 6, which talks about the problems if you don't have vitamin A5 and what happens if you have a deficiency. And if you potential effects associated with vitamin A5 deficiency. All right, medium-term effects on general mental health well-being, mental stress, anxiety, insecurity, aggravation, irritability, nervousness, reduced cognitive abilities, depression, loss of appetite, general loss of enjoyment of life, dissatisfaction, listlessness, sleep disorders, restlessness, addictive behaviors towards drugs and drug-like stimuli, non-optimal brain aging. So how many Americans do you know that have some of these issues, like, right? Aggression, irritability, nervousness, like we see all these stupid shootings. Like, once again, if you're eating junk food diet, you're not getting vitamin A5. Even if you're eating some diets, a carnivore diet, you're gonna have a vitamin A5 deficiency. Even some non-properly planned plant-based diets that are very restrictive, you could also have a A5 deficiency. Of course, if you're on a vegan diet and you eat vegan junk food and don't eat any whole plant foods, such as the leafy greens sitting beside me that made me so happy, you could have an A5 deficiency. All right, and then more importantly, long-term negative effects on neurological disease prevalence and progression. So you could get neurodevelopment diseases, autism, ADHD, mental psychotic diseases, major depression, drug addiction, alcoholism, dementia, schizophrenia, bipolar, neurodegenerative diseases, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, multiple sclerosis, Huntington's disease, demyelation diseases, multiple sclerosis, neuroimmunological diseases. So these things are not fun, guys. So I want you guys all to make sure you get enough vitamin A5. And if you have a properly planned diet like I've been recommending for many years, then you're going to be completely fine on vitamin A5. If you, once again, have a very restrictive diet or you eat a junk food diet, you're going to be deficient. And these problems can happen to you. All right, so I know what some of you guys are thinking. Some of you guys are thinking, John, I eat really healthy, man. I'm not deficient in vitamin A5. I get it, because I eat a varied diet, because I listen to what you say and I do it. All right, so some of you guys may not believe vitamin A5 is a real deficiency, but that's why the study authors basically looked at data of what Europeans ate, right? And found out that 66% or 2/3 of Europeans do not reach the suggested 1.1 milligrams, which is a tiny amount, guys. A milligram, like a gram, it's like a milligram. Like this is like hardly nothing of A5, which is insane, you know, that 2/3 of Europeans don't reach it. And if 2/3 of Europeans don't reach it, man, I'm sure, like, I don't know, I would guess I'd put money 80% of Americans are not reaching this either. Anyways, you can see some of the countries that kind of eat healthier, such as Spain, in Greece, Rome, the Mediterranean countries that have the Mediterranean diet, which is, of course, a very balanced diet with lots of different food groups and different types of foods, including leafy greens, as you will learn. You know, we're not deficient in A5, but especially some of the Eastern European countries are. And this is not a big problem to fix. It's not like this nutrient is in only weird, rare foods. It's in some common foods, but unfortunately, some people in some countries, and even here in America, we don't eat enough of these common, healthy foods. Now let's go down in the study to figure 4 that talks about what foods contain the vitamin A5. But before we do, I want to get into figure 4A, which actually talks about where is the vitamin A5 occurring in the human, right? So it occurs in serum, which is our blood, liver, kidneys, adrenals, testes, and prostate for the men. So that's probably a very important component to have some A5. So you have some really good little guys down there, if you know what I mean. And then, of course, it is also in the breast milk. So it's probably very important for children to have the vitamin A5 as their brains develop, because it does deal with, like, you know, like things in your brain. All right. So anyways, let's go down to the different plant foods that contain it. So not all vitamin A containing foods contain it. It's certain ones and in certain amounts. So at present time, these foods have been identified to contain vitamin A5 or pre-vitamin A5, which we're looking at the 9-CBC is how they identify it. It's more of the scientific term here. And of course, the highest is spinach at 38.6. Next up is kale, 14.1. And you know, kale and spinach are both leafy greens, guys. I've been preaching for many, many years now to the importance of leafy greens. My goal is to eat 1 pound of leafy greens a day minimally, and then I eat additional pounds of vegetables every single day. My first juice today was literally about almost a quart of lettuce juice, straight 100% lettuce juice. So I easily got, I don't know, like 3 pounds easily of lettuce in me this morning. So even lettuce has it also, but it's, you know, much lower at 2.0. Broccoli has a bit more at 5.0. These foods we know have the vitamin A5. That being said, it is quite possible that other leafy greens have the vitamin A5 as well. And of course, other foods that have it are things like carrots, tomatoes, sweet potatoes, and pumpkin to a much lower extent. For fruits, if you guys want to only eat fruits, which I do not recommend, I recommend you guys eat a balanced diet with fruits, vegetables, and other healthy plant foods that are minimally processed. 1.3 for papaya. That's definitely one of the higher fruits. And then apricots 0.6, and then peach was 0.3. So that's much, much lower. So, you know, these are great to have these numbers, but what does that mean in real life? Like, how much of this do we really need to eat? Well, let's jump to another study to find out. All right, so now we're going to jump to this study called Human Nutritional Relevance and Suggested Nutritional Guidelines for Vitamin A5/X and Provitamin A5/X. So technically, because we are talking about the provitamin A5, researchers in this study also may want to call it vitamin X, which maybe Elon Musk would be happy about. But I hope the A5 sticks, not the X. It just makes things far too confusing. Nonetheless, we're going to go down to this last page here. And you can see on figure 7 on this study, it basically talks about suggested calculated average daily intake of provitamin A5 in the form of 9-cis B beta carotene. Can it be achieved by, literally guys, eating 30 grams of spinach a day? Because once again, that was one of the highest foods identified to date. If you want to eat lettuce because you believe spinach is toxic because of the oxalates, you know, I eat spinach in season. It's rare that I buy spinach out of season. And for me, spinach is in season when it is in my garden, which is basically winter / fall / early spring. Of course, if you guys are eating lettuce, which also is not in season for me at this time, although I do buy it imported. I eat many of other greens that are in season that I grow myself. But you would have to eat 600 grams a day of lettuce. So it's like, you know, that's a lot of lettuce. It's like over a pound of lettuce a day to get your A5. If you're trying to be a fruitarian and only stick to fruits, right? Fruits are a much weaker source of the vitamin A5. Then you need 1,800 grams a day of apricots. And because the peaches had like half as much, you'd need like 3,900 odd grams of peaches. And I mean, that's like almost like almost 4 pounds of apricots to get your vitamin A5. Apricots are probably going out of season now. If you're eating peaches, which are currently in season, you're gonna eat like maybe almost 8 pounds of those guys. So I would say, you know, eat some vegetables, guys. It's smart, especially like just a little bit of spinach or other leafy greens like kale. Maybe kale would be like maybe 60 grams a day, which is like nothing. And then, of course, there's also other foods such as carrots. If you eat raw carrots, it's 171 grams a day, which is not a lot of carrot, guys. But if you guys choose to heat process your food like I do, then you could have cooked carrots. And cooked carrots, you need approximately 1/3 or maybe a little bit less than 1/3, because when you heat process the carrots, the vitamin A5 or provitamin A5 is basically more bioavailable, so we get a greater uptake. So now you could eat even less. And so it's like 50 grams of carrots a day of cooked carrots will get you the A5 you need. And if you make a stew with vegetables and carrots, you can see there's plenty of carrots in there. It says unknown amounts, but I would say that if you ate a stew with vegetables and carrots, you're probably gonna get all your A5 needs. You know, you got some broccoli in there, you got some leafy greens in there, you got a bunch of carrots in there, you're probably gonna be pretty good. So, you know, this is why I teach dietary diversity. Don't just mono-meal apricots all summer season, right? You wanna eat plenty of different foods because there are, like, you know, undiscovered and now discovered uncommon vitamins and nutrients that researchers are discovering all the time. Why wait for the discoveries to happen? You should just eat a variety of fruits and vegetables, leafy greens now to avoid any potential deficiencies as they discover new vitamins and other micronutrients, which I feel are critical for our health. All right, so now we're gonna go down to see what the study authors say about A5 in the summary. Vitamin A5 is a new vitamin and the precursor of the endogenous human relevant lignan for RXR, the master switch that enables the multitude of NHR-mediated effects to be activated and modulated by targeted dietary intake. Dietary recommendations that focus exclusively on a healthy and varied diet are well-intentioned, but unfortunately, the willingness of the entire population to follow these recommendations is lacking. Yes, everybody says eat a varied diet and eat different food groups and all these things, but people go to the store and they get their Doritos and freaking soda, and they're living on Doritos and soda, or they're living just like McDonald's that have basically foods that have very little A5, if any. Maybe the lettuce has a little bit, but you're eating one little thing of lettuce and one little slice of tomato on your burger with everything processed. Anyways, let's continue down. It says the identification of vitamin A5 is an important, if not the most important component of fruits and vegetables, is a crucial step in explaining and communicating the health promoting and health maintaining effects of a healthy and varied diet. And it says vitamin A5 might be the key component to target selective undesired health consequences of brain and nerves resulting from a long-term unbalanced Western diet. So, you know, here's the thing, like the study authors are gonna say, yes, vitamin A5 is the most important thing. What I'm gonna tell you guys is, yes, vitamin A5 is something you should consider. Unfortunately, I don't know any other plant-based doctors that are even talking about vitamin A5. You probably heard it here first, because I like to literally share with you guys all the information you need to be healthy and successful. I mean, this is what I look into for my health, for fun on a daily basis, and I'm glad I could share this new, undiscovered, or now discovered vitamin A5 nutrient. Now I want to go ahead and summarize this episode for you. All right, the summary of this episode literally just comes in figure number 7, which is shown in humans, healthy food includes lots of vegetables. Yes, you fruitarians out there, lots of vegetables. And then not just vegetables, but lots of leafy vegetables. As I sit in my garden with my wall of greens, I have actually 2 walls of greens. This is one wall, and the other wall is against my house, and then my whole garden is just full of greens. Summer, winter, every time of year. Eat your greens, guys. And then, of course, lots of leafy greens are high in A5 because they are in the foods. And then a high vitamin A5 concentration in the organism means you'll get potent activation of the RXR. Once again, this is the master switch that is only activated by vitamin A5. And then, some of the different things we talked about, RAR, VDR, LXR, PPAR, which is some signaling. And then you get differentiation, apoptosis, proliferation, and then you get protection from diabetes and cardiovascular. And then because of the PPAR, you get myelination, dopamine signaling, brain cleanup, cholesterol efflux, nerve and brain-specific vitamin A5 RXR dependent mechanisms. And then you have basically protection from neurological diseases. And to give you guys, to tell you guys, my dad has Alzheimer's. I'm going to visit him actually right after this video in about 5 minutes and help care for him because of his Alzheimer's, which, and thinking about like how many vitamin A5 foods did my dad eat when I was growing up? We had carrots every now and then, everything was cooked. It was a highly processed food diet. We ate out of McDonald's and he didn't get a lot. I'm not going to claim that vitamin A5 deficiency is a cause of my dad's Alzheimer's. I'm sure it's many other things, including his past lifestyle, maybe not getting as much exercise, not eating high antioxidant-rich foods such as blueberries, not doing meditation, getting proper exercise. Anyway, so many different things, guys. But now you guys know another potent component and why I promote eating plant foods. The vitamin A5 is not found in any significant amounts. I mean, this study does show it was in like beef liver, like very low amounts. So I'm not gonna say it's deficient, but if you're a carnivore, you definitely want to eat, you want to at least eat some fruit with your carnivore diet, or I would say vegetables for the win. So that's what I'm going to leave you guys with today is vitamin A5, a brand new nutrient. If you guys are already eating a healthy diet like I've been recommending, rich in different leafy greens and other colorful foods, and are eating the rainbow, right? You're going to have your A5 needs covered so that your master switch will be working. And if you guys are currently not eating a healthy diet and you're not getting enough A5, I would encourage you guys to eat more vegetables specifically. They identified spinach and kale, some of the highest. Even if you want to include some fruits such as peaches, also had a higher amount. The apricots, the papayas as well. The carrots, eat some cooked carrots, eat some raw carrots, juice some carrots, that'll get you some A5 as well. A5 is an essential nutrient that you will hear about a lot more about in the future. So if you guys enjoy this episode learning about A5, hearing it here first, because not many people are discussing this, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Also, more importantly, share this with other vegans, raw vegans, people on a fruitarian diet, or people that eat a restrictive diet, or people on a standard American diet, so that they could learn about this very important brand new vitamin that was just discovered. If you guys enjoyed content like this and want more content that I go out of the box and show you guys things you're not going to hear on other channels, the only way you're going to know about that is if you click the subscribe button right down below, and more importantly, click the little bell so you get notified as many videos come out. I'm a divergent thinker and will cover things that most people will never cover, because that's how my mind works, and I appreciate it. I appreciate my mind a lot. That's why I'm going to eat more A5 today to nourish my brain. All right. Also, be sure to check my past episodes. shows our wealth of knowledge and over 900 episodes approximately at this time, sharing with you guys all about how to eat the healthiest plant-based diet out there, so you guys aren't deficient and can be as healthy as you can. So with that, my name is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. We'll see you next time, and until then, remember, keep eating your fresh fruits and vegetables, including foods rich in vitamin A5 like the leafy greens that I love so much.